Hello everyone, I'm Anas Al Ubaidi, and this is the second lecture or second session from chapter 11 from the certification course of the Advanced Medical Science Liaison and Medical Monitor curriculum or syllabus by CCRPS. As chapter 11 is about the investigator and the site management, and the lecture for this video or the topic is about managing non-compliance and corrective and preventive action, as for short, CAPA or CAPA plans. We'll have introduction about the topic, as non-compliance in clinical trials possess significant ethical, operational, and regulatory concerns. So, non-compliance in general in clinical research overall will increase the concerns and multiple levels of concerns and multiple kinds of concerns, whether ethical concerns, operational, and regulatory concerns. Deviations from protocols, GCP, good clinical practice guidelines, or regulatory requirements jeopardize data integrity, participant safety, the patient safety, and the overall study outcomes. So, non-compliance in general will jeopardize either or some of all of the following or all of the following will jeopardize and risk the data integrity, patient safety, and the overall study outcomes. Addressing these violations is essential for maintaining trial credibility, avoiding regulatory repercussions, and ensuring the safety of enrolled patients or participants. Corrective and preventive action, CAPA, corrective and preventive action plans offer a structured strategy to identify, evaluate, and eliminate non-compliance risks while preventing their recurrence. By combining detailed root cause analysis with targeted actions, CAPA facilitates continuous improvement and streamlines trial management. The approach is not limited to reactive measures. It is a holistic and proactive process. So here, the approach of CAPA, or corrective and preventive action plans, corrective and preventive action plans, or CAPA in general, such approach is not only used and only think about or start to implement when as a reaction. So it's not limited to reactive measures, not only if there is a need or indication. No, it's far beyond that, as it is a holistic and a proactive process that seeks to build resilience into clinical research systems. For advanced physician medical monitors, for medical monitors or MMs, managing non-compliance efficiently involves mastering tools for identification, root cause analysis, and CAPA design. And CAPA stands for, again, for corrective and preventive action plans. Now, the key points about the topic. We'll start with understanding non-compliance in clinical trials. Definition and examples. As non-compliance occurs when research activities deviate from established protocols. Deviate. So it's it's a deviation. So deviate a which means um, doing some procedures, for instance, that uh, are not mentioned or established by the protocols, or not doing the procedures that are established in the protocols, but not exactly how they supposed to be done. So deviate from established protocols, deviate from GCP, good clinical practice guidelines or standards, and or deviate from regulatory requirements. Such deviations can interfere with the trial results and pose risks to participants. So here by having such deviations will jeopardize, as we said, the participant or patient safety, the data integrity, and the overall trial or study outcomes. Common examples could be failure to obtain proper informed consent. This is a very common example. Um, Enrolling ineligible participants outside the inclusion exclusion criteria. This is common as well. Late reporting of SAE serious adverse events, common as well. Protocol deviations such as incorrect dosage administration, it is common as well. And I might add one more that is common, for instance, uh, while conducting visits, on-site visits for the participants or patients who are participants or subjects. For instance, a certain subject or patient doesn't come within the time frame window of that particular visit per calendar dates that is allowed or scheduled per protocol schedule, coming, for instance, after the time frame, much beyond the date that this patient's supposed to be coming on site to conduct one of the scheduled study patient visits. And this is another common deviation. A real world example, a trial site failing to properly document informed consent for subgroup of participants risks both ethical violations and data exclusion. Impacts of non-compliance. Non-compliance has severe consequences, including jeopardizing the participant's safety, patient safety. So participant safety risks, administering an investigational drug or investigational product, IP, or study medication SM to ineligible participants could result in adverse health events. Compromised data reliability. Protocol deviations negatively impact the scientific validity of trial outcomes. So, by applying non-compliance, we jeopardize the trial outcomes as well. Regulatory consequences, as regulatory agencies such as the FDA in USA and EMA and EU, European Union, which stands for European Medicines Agency, could issue warnings or suspend the trial. Cost and time delays. Investigating and addressing non-compliance increases trial costs and extends timelines. The need for timely identification. Identifying non-compliance early enables faster mitigation and prevents escalation. This involves both proactive and continuous monitoring. And here's a diagram summarizes or reflecting analyzing non-compliance in clinical trials, as we have here the informed consent issues, adverse event reporting, protocol deviations, participant uh, eligibility. Identifying non-compliance. As methods of detection or methods of identification, we have monitoring visits, routine on-site and remote monitoring, um, like the periodic on-site monitoring visits that usually done or often done by CRAs, clinical research associates, or the periodic remote as well, monitoring to evaluate protocol adherence and data accuracy. Example, a periodic site visit uncovers inconsistencies, discrepancies in the dosing records on case report forms, CRFs. Audits and inspections. Independent assessments by internal and external teams to verify compliance. For example, an audit reveals unreported adverse events, AEs, missing from safety logs. So here we have, for this example, reflects the one of the common deviations, which is the delay in reporting or failure to report adverse events. Data analysis of centralized data trends to uncover discrepancies, as for example, detecting unusually delayed patient visit data during database monitoring. Personal feedback. Site staff and investigators report incidents or concerns related to practices and processes, um, as this can reflect on personnel feedback. Key indicators of noncompliance. We have increased protocol violations across trial sites, missing or incomplete documentation, delayed serious adverse event SAE reporting trends, data anomalies including outliers or inconsistent patient records. Challenges, of course, in identification, as there are challenges in every application or implementation in clinical research. Challenges, operational errors, operational bias, human mistakes during data entry or process execution, hidden deviations, lack of transparency from trial sites or teams. As here we have a diagram reflecting on the methods of detecting non-compliance. We have personnel feedback, data analysis, monitoring visits, audits, and inspections. Developing a CAPA plan. A CAPA, which is a corrective, again, it's short for a corrective and preventive actions or action plan, provides a comprehensive framework for correcting identified issues and preventing recurrence. That's why it's considered proactive, not only reactive. So it can be considered both as a reactive and proactive. So it's not only reactive action, it's far beyond that. Key steps in CAPA development: identify the issue, record and define the nature, scale, and impact of the noncompliance. As for example, a trend of missing consent information in pediatric studies is flagged for review. Perform root cause analysis. RCA use structured tools to uncover the underlying causes. Tools, 5 ways methods. By repeatedly asking why, investigators can pinpoint the fundamental issue. As for example, the analysis finds missing serious adverse event SAE reports due to informal delegation of safety reporting duties. Fishbone diagram, as we are here mentioning the tools of RCA, perform root cause analysis. Um, Fishbone diagram categorizes potential causes into themes like training gaps, resources, or unclear processes. As for example, case report form CRF incompleteness stems from both unclear SOPs, standard operating procedures or site operating procedures, and inadequate team training. Pareto chart focuses on correcting the most common non-compliances first, as for example, as common examples of non-compliance, informed consent errors, one of the most common uh, uh, um, non-compliance in clinical trials. Define corrective actions. So implement immediate steps to resolve current issues, as for example, conduct site-specific retraining or serious adverse event SAE reporting timelines. Develop preventive actions. Establish measures to prevent future occurrences. So, as number one, can reflect as corrective actions reflect the reaction, a reactive approach. While develop preventive actions, this can reflect on the idea of being proactive. Example: introduce automated reminder systems for serious adverse event reporting deadlines. Document and communicate. Share CAPA plans with all relevant parties and outline required actions, as for example, updated site or standard operating procedures are distributed to team members during a protocol refresh. Monitor and evaluate. Continuously assess the effectiveness of implementing CAPA steps. For example, monitor reduction rates and protocol violations post training. Here we have the CAPA workflow in action. Issued identified. Staff failed to follow protocol and submit serious adverse event reports on time. RCA, um, uh, insufficient training on the timeline requirements and delegation bias or errors. Corrective action conduct remedial GCB, good clinical practice training focused on serious adverse event as AE reporting compliance. Preventive action implements centralized automatic submission reminders via EDC, electronic data capture systems. So here a summarized diagram showing CAPA development process as we have here. Uh, from bottom to top, we have identify the issue, root cause analysis, then CAPA tools, or from top to bottom, CAPA tools, root cause analysis, and then identify the issue. Root cause analysis techniques, we have the deep dive into RCA tools, five whys method, encourages iterative questioning to uncover the primary reason behind an issue. As for example, repeated whys reveal non-standardized checklists as the root of misconsent forms. Fishbone diagram, visual tool for identifying and organizing causal factors. Pareto chart uses the 80 to 20 rule to address the most prevalent non-compliance issues first. Failure mode and effects analysis, FMEA for short, maps potential failures and identifies preventive measures, as for example, mapping risks in investigational product, IP labeling to prevent dosage bias or errors. Here is a summarized diagram showing the prioritization of RCA techniques, fishbone diagram, five ways, FMEA, and Pareto chart. Here we have the high impact, low impact, low complexity, and high complexity. It is a very good summarized diagram. Benefits of effective CAPA plans: transformational outcomes, enhance participant safety, patient safety, as proactive safety measures ensure participant welfare during trials. Better compliance and data integrity, standardized CAPA workflows reduce protocol deviations globally, internationally. Timely and cost-efficient trials prevent actions, minimize delays caused by repeat violations. Streamlined processes, automated systems improve operational efficiency and reporting accuracy. So here are the transformational outcomes. We have the enhanced safety, patient safety, compliance integrity, timely trials, and streamlined processes. Challenges in CAPA implementation. So overcoming barriers, we have resistance to change. One of the most familiar issues, common issues, is the resistance to change. The solution for it engage trial teams in participatory training to build buy-in. Resources constraints, solution for it maximize existing tools and prioritize high-impact preventive measures. Lack of comprehensive investigative tools, solution for it invest in RCA enabling technologies like centralized dashboards or AI, um, artificial intelligence driven monitoring. Communication gaps, a solution for it introduced organized CAPA communication tools to align global teams. And here, by integrating CAPA principles with advanced root cause analysis and leveraging relevant insights, the advanced physician the medical monitors or MMs, play a critical role in upholding clinical trial excellence while fostering a culture of accountability and improvement. Here's a nice summarized diagram uh, showing the engaged teams to enhance CAPA implementation as implement participatory training and tools, um, uh, and addressing the challenges here, resistance and gaps in CAPA, and then ending up with improved CAPA effectiveness and accountability. Summary tables. We have a tables here, upcoming tables to summarize the lecture, key resources and impacts of non-compliance in clinical trials, source description, example impact, source, we have the protocol deviations, training gaps, operational errors, resource constraints, data management issues. Key steps in developing a CAPA plan, the steps, description, goal, example, and the steps here: identify the issue, perform root cause analysis, develop corrective actions, define preventive actions, and monitor and then monitor and evaluate success. Then we have a table showing the root cause analysis techniques as the method here, method, description, benefit, application, example. We have 5 whys, keep asking why, fishbone diagram, Pareto chart, FMEA, data trend analysis. Then we have the challenges in non-compliance management and CAPA. Challenge, the impact for each solution implementation, and then example. As we have the resistance to change, one of the most common challenges in any implementation and for any application clinical trial, investigative tool gaps, resource constraints, communication breakdowns, and budget limitations. Then we have the recent advancements in CAPA planning, the advancement, description, benefit, use case, and then example. And the advancements here, we have the digital training tools, central monitoring systems, automated reporting tools, risk-based CAPA planning, cloud-based data solutions. Then we have the application table as scenarios. For each scenario, the key principle applied, key actions, timeline, what to watch out for. As the scenarios, we have missed SAE, serious adverse event reporting deadlines at multiple trial sites, key principle that was applied, corrective and preventive action, CAPA workflow. For the scenario, frequent errors in form consent documentation, key principle that was applied, root cause analysis with 5 whys method. Protocol deviations in dosing for oncology trials, key principle that was applied, risk mitigation via corrective actions, while the scenario for non-collaboration of vital monitoring equipment, key principle that was applied, fishbone diagram for RCA. Continuing with scenarios, irregularities in CRF, case report form completion across sites, key principle applied, training-based preventive action. Scenario of missing data on adverse events in a global multicenter trial, key principle that was applied, centralized monitoring of compliance. Scenario of unreported deviations during routine monitoring visits, key principle that was applied, collaborative CAPA team approach. Continuing with scenarios, recurrent issues with drug labeling and investigational products, IPs, key principle that was applied, failure mode and effects analysis, FMEA. Data integrity concerns flagged in a centralized audit, RCA with Pareto chart analysis, key principle that was applied for it, deviations in informed consent during pediatric trials, as the key principle that was applied enhanced GCP, good clinical practice training for specialized trials. In order to revise, we have some MCQs, multiple choice questions. Question 1, what is the key risk associated with non-compliance in clinical trials? Is it A, increased trial efficiency and speed, B, enhanced participant safety without additional oversight, or C, invalid trial results and ethical violations, or D, additional funding opportunities? So the question is, what is a key risk associated with non-compliance in clinical trials? So it is C, definitely invalid trial results, because as non-compliance jeopardize the overall trial outcomes. So invalid trial results and ethical violations. C. So non-compliance such as enrolling ineligible participants or protocol deviations can lead to invalid trial outcomes and ethical violations, jeopardizing both the trial's integrity and participant patient safety. Question 2, which method is commonly used in root cause analysis? RCA for identifying non-compliance issues. Is it A, directly assigning blame without analysis, ignoring minor protocol violations, B, or C, the 5 whys method, or D, only focusing on immediate corrective actions? So definitely it's C, the 5 whys method. Keep asking why till you reach the root cause for any issue. So root cause analysis, RCA. So the answer is C. The 5 whys method involves repeatedly asking why to drill down to the root cause of a problem, ensuring data that CAPA plans address fundamental issues rather than service symptoms. Question 3, what is the purpose of a corrective and preventive action CAPA plan? A, to eliminate the need for monitoring visits. B, to focus only on immediate fixes without addressing future risks. C, to identify, correct, and prevent non-compliance issues, or D, to reduce trial training requirements for site staff. So definitely it's C, to identify, correct, and prevent non-compliance issues. Um, a CAPA plan is a structured approach that not only resolves current non-compliances but also implements measures as being, it's not reactive only, but beyond that, as being proactive to prevent their recurrence in future, enhancing the trial compliance and data quality. Question 4, what is a common challenge in deploying CAPA plans and how can it be mitigated? Common challenge. Is it A, excess budget allocations, eliminating training initiatives, staff resistance to changes, addressing through collaborative workshops, C, lack of participant data, using non-trial data instead, overuse of audits, conducting audits only once a year. So as we said, one of the common challenges in many implementation and clinical trials, especially when trying to use technology and more modernized applications to implement, is the resistance, especially for site staff or researcher staff that used to an old or prior system. Uh, so there might be a resistance uh, uh, in adjustment into the new modernized methods. So resistance as of B, staff resistance to challenges, and how can it be mitigated, addressing through collaborative uh, workshops and collaboration. Resistance to CAPA process changes can hinder implementation. Collaborative training and engagement with staff ensure smoother adoption and thorough understanding of the measures' importance. Question 5, how can timely identification of non-compliance be achieved in clinical trials? Is it A, relying solely on sponsors to review all data post-trial? B, ignoring feedback from personnel as it is informal? C, utilizing monitoring visits, audits, and data analysis? Or D, avoiding routine checks to ensure faster trial completion? So timely identification of non-compliance, but how can be achieved in clinical trials and in study trials? Definitely not relying solely on sponsors. Definitely not ignoring the feedback, and definitely not to avoid routine checks. So it is C, utilizing monitoring visits, whether hybrid, on-site, a mix of on-site and remote, in addition to centralized monitoring, audits, and data analysis. So to C, timely identification of non-compliance involves tools like routine monitoring visits, internal or external audits, and centralized data analysis to detect issues early and mitigate risks. And here we come to the end of this session, to the end of this lecture. Thank you very much and goodbye.